The Riftfalls Edge. The next morning dawned gray and cold, the sun hidden behind thick, swirling clouds that seemed unnaturally still. The group continued their journey, the terrain growing harsher and the air heavier with each step. Jagged rocks jutted out of the ground like broken teeth, and the faint hum of magical energy from the riftfall resonated in their bones. Mina's scanner beeped incessantly, the reading spiking with every mile. We're almost there. The energy levels are hitting maximum thresholds. Kayla adjusted her grip on her halberd, which means the syndicate is already ahead of us. Aaron tightened his grip on his sword. Do you think they're waiting for us? Ruin, walking several paces ahead, glanced back over his shoulder. They won't wait. They'll try to stop us before we get close. The warning came too late. As the group rounded a rocky outcrop, a hail of glowing bolts shot toward them, forcing them to scatter for cover. Syndicate operatives emerged from the shadows, their dark armor gleaming with faint violet runes. Each one carried weapons infused with shard energy, the tips crackling ominously. They didn't make us wait long. The operatives moved in formation, their leader barking orders. Hold the line! Don't let them through! Let's break their line, then. Kayla charged the front line, her halberd a blur of motion. She met the first operative head-on, their weapons clashing in a spray of sparks. Her strength was overwhelming, each swing forcing her opponent's back. What's the matter? Not used to fighting someone who hits harder than you? She pivoted, bringing her halberd around in a wide arc that sent two operatives sprawling. Another lunged at her, but she blocked their strike effortlessly, countering with a decisive blow that cracked their armor. Ruin moved like a shadow, darting between the operatives with deadly precision. His daggers flashed in the dim light, finding weak points in their armor and dropping them before they could react. Ruin, you were too loud. He disappeared into the rocks, reappearing behind an archer and slicing through their bowstring before they could fire another shot. Mina crouched behind cover, her hands a blur as she assembled a small contraption. She hurled it into the fray, and it exploded with a deafening crack, releasing a wave of concussive force that knocked several operatives off their feet. Boom! Science strikes again. As another operative charged her, she whipped out a small handheld device that emitted an electric pulse, stunning them long enough for Keela to deliver the finishing blow. Aaron held his ground near the center of the fight, parrying blows from an aggressive, dual-wielding operative. His movements were shaky at first, but he adapted quickly, using the weight of his opponent's strikes against them. You're not getting past me. The operative sneered, You're just a kid with a sword. Aaron deflected their next strike and countered with a powerful thrust, knocking them to the ground. And you're just another obstacle. As the last of the first wave fell, a loud, resonant voice echoed through the canyon. Impressive, but you'll find I'm not so easily defeated. A tall figure stepped forward, clad in heavy black armor, etched with glowing violet runes. Their helm obscured their face, but their presence was palpable, the air around them crackling with energy. Kayla's grip on her halberd tightened. A commander, just our luck. The commander raised a massive warhammer, its head radiating with shard energy. You should have turned back while you had the chance. The commander charged, their hammer smashing into the ground with a thunderous impact that sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield. Rocks shattered, and the group was forced to scatter again. Kayla met the commander head-on, her halberd clashing with their hammer in a burst of energy. The force of the impact sent her skidding back, but she gritted her teeth and pushed forward. You hit hard. Let's see if you can take it too. She feinted left, then swung low, aiming for the commander's legs. They blocked her strike with surprising speed, countering with a wide arc of their hammer that she barely dodged. Mina hurled another gadget into the fray, a small orb that burst into a cloud of shimmering particles. The particles clung to the commander's armor, disrupting the flow of energy to their weapon. Let's see how tough you are without your fancy toys. Ruin appeared behind the commander, his daggers aiming for the gaps in their armor. But the commander was faster than expected, spinning and swinging their hammer in a wide arc that forced him to retreat. Ruin, you're more skilled than the others. Steeling himself, Eren charged, ducking under a wild swing of the hammer and driving his sword into the commander's side. The blade didn't pierce the armor, but the force staggered them, creating an opening for Kayla. Now, Kayla! Kayla seized the opportunity, driving the blunt end of her halberd into the commander's chest. The force knocked them to the ground, and Ruin was on them in an instant, his dagger at their throat. The commander coughed, their voice cold. You think this changes anything? The Riftfall will rise whether you live to see it or not. Kayla glared at them. Not if we stop it first. The commander laughed, a harsh, grating sound. You're just delaying the inevitable. The Syndicate is already ahead of you. Before they could say more, the commander activated a hidden rune on their armor, disappearing in a swirl of shadowy energy. The group stood in silence, catching their breath. The battlefield was littered with broken weapons and scorch marks, the air still heavy with the lingering energy of the fight. Eren sank to the ground, his hands trembling. That was intense. Kayla offered him a hand, pulling him to his feet. You did good, rookie. Keep that up, and you might survive the next one. Mina wiped sweat from her brow, grinning. And hey, my gadgets didn't explode this time. Progress! Ruin sheathed his daggers, his expression unreadable. We need to move. The Syndicate won't stop here. As they continued toward the Riftfall region, the shard's hum grew louder, a constant reminder of the dangers ahead. The rocky path leading to the Riftfall region had become treacherous, twisted by ancient energy. The terrain pulsed with an unnatural glow, deep cracks in the earth emitting a violet mist. Every step forward felt heavier, as if the land itself resisted their presence. Mina adjusted her scanner, frowning at the readings. Yeah, so, the magical density here is ridiculous. Either the Riftfall is getting stronger or it knows we're coming. I'm gonna vote for neither of those options. Kayla tightened her grip on her halberd, too late to turn back now. Ruin, who had been scouting ahead, motioned for them to stop. He knelt, brushing his fingers against the ground, his expression dark. Ruin, fresh tracks. The Syndicate sent another team ahead of us. Kayla's expression hardened, then we pick up the pace. The group pressed forward, weaving through jagged cliffs and unstable pathways. The deeper they went, the louder the shard's hum became, reverberating through the ground beneath their feet. Eren was the first to feel it, a sharp pull in his chest, like an invisible thread yanking at his soul. He stumbled, gripping his sword for balance. Mina noticed his discomfort. Hey, rookie, you okay? Before Eren could respond, a shadow flickered past them, then another. The air chilled, and the mist thickened. Spinning her weapon. This isn't a normal ambush. From the darkness, figures emerged, Syndicate operatives, but their eyes burned with violet light, their movements unnaturally fluid. The moment they stepped forward, the ground beneath them cracked, shifting like a living thing. They've been exposed to rift energy. One of the operatives smirked, their voice distorted. The Riftfall welcomes you. With that, the battle began. A pair of Syndicate warriors rushed Kayla, their swords glowing with unstable energy. She parried their synchronized strikes, but their speed was unnatural. Her muscles strained as she barely deflected a spinning slash. And Kayla, not bad, but let's see if you can handle this. She suddenly stepped into their attack, twisting her halberd into an upward swing that sent one flying. The other hesitated, a split second too long. She struck again, sending them crashing into the rocks. Ruin disappeared into the mist, only to reappear behind an enemy who melted into shadow the moment he struck. They reformed behind him, aiming a dagger at his back. Ch! Instead of dodging, Ruin caught the enemy's wrist mid-strike, twisting it until a sickening crack echoed through the air. Without hesitation, he plunged his dagger into their side before vanishing again. Mina activated a small drone that hovered above the battlefield, scanning the mist. Her fingers flew over a device strapped to her wrist, sending pulses of energy that disrupted the Rift-enhanced operative's movements. Welcome to the age of tech, suckers. She hurled a modified grenade that exploded in a burst of electrical energy, stunning multiple enemies at once. Eren faced off against a towering operative wielding a massive rift-infused blade. The sheer force of their swings sent cracks through the ground. Eren blocked one strike but was pushed back several feet. Okay, big guy, noted. He watched the enemy's movements carefully. The energy from the rift seemed to overload them at times, moments where their strikes slowed just enough. Taking a gamble, Eren sidestepped the next attack, dodging at the last moment and slicing into their exposed side. The operatives staggered, their energy fluctuating wildly. I'm getting the hang of this. With coordinated attacks, the team took down the remaining Syndicate forces. The mist began to thin, but the ominous energy in the air remained. The group stood among the fallen, breathing heavily. Ruin wiped his blade clean. They weren't normal. The rift energy is changing them. Kayla looked at the bodies, some still twitching as unstable energy pulsed through them. If they're experimenting with this, it's worse than we thought. Eren exhaled slowly. If we don't stop them here, it'll spread, won't it? Mina adjusted her goggles, scanning the residual energy in the air. It already is. A low rumble echoed through the canyon. The ground trembled beneath their feet. The riftfall was close. Kayla rolled her shoulders. Then let's finish this. The group pressed forward, moving deeper into the cursed land. The path ahead was unknown.